It's here. Remember, guys, if you want to speak, you need to request to be a speaker. Um, we can go from there. I see there's some questions right now. Okay, guys, we'll get started here. Anybody ask a question? I think that everybody probably wants to talk mostly about some stock stuff. So I actually have the famous Jason Tucker on. Just waiting for him to accept the invite to be able to speak. Jay, I think if you look at the link I sent you to be a co-host, you should be able to access that and you can speak then. Can you guys hear me okay? Can somebody respond to it? Can somebody respond if they can hear us talking? There we go. All right, TL, I think I had to use a speaker. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hey, Mike, I'm here.
All right. Okay, guys. So I think what we'll start with is we're going to talk about the stock quick. So I brought Jason on to really just go over a couple things about the stock, what's going on, some of the questions that you guys have asked before we really get into what's happening with the day to day about Prodigy and how things are going. So, Jay, you want to talk real quick? You have to unmute yourself, bud. I don't think this is working too good, guys. Hey, Jason, on the bottom of the screen, it shows your mic is off if you just turn it on. Just click the button on your phone.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, sir. There you are.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were talking to me or Jay.
No, no, just you right now. So,
Okay,
Mr.
perfect.
Tucker, just give these guys an update. So many people think you're fake, you don't exist, all these things. I mean, I tell them that we work together on a daily basis, and you're the quiet one, behind the scenes guy. So, um, I think before we really start talking about all this great stuff we've done over the past year and how you've really mentored me, in the public sector, let these guys hear from you. I think that's something they all want.
Yeah, let me just start off by saying I hope everyone's having a wonderful evening. We appreciate your time and listen to us, speak to you guys and hear what we have to say. But I wanted to start out by saying I don't have a whole lot of time tonight, unfortunately. However, I do want to, come on here and support Mike. He's done a great job, and He's going to continue to do a great job. We got all the confidence in the world in him, and I just wanted to dispel any rumors that I'm some ghost or not a real person or there's an alter ego involved. That's completely untrue. As you may know, I was the CEO of LES a few years ago, and I had to get a background check, and that just doesn't happen, by accident or with illegal documents or it's some other person. So, first and foremost, I wanted to start with that. Just a little about what we do is, Mike handles the day to day operations. My focus is getting through the audit, getting filings in, and getting off the expert market, all of which is underway, of course. Um, I'm really a reserved guy. I try to just put my, you know, nose in the books and do what I have to do. So, with that being said, all other stock related questions and things like that will be addressed in future filings and press. So I hope that clears up some of the things that may be going on in your guys' heads and things like that. Um, so really, just wanted to lead with that and let you know that I'm working as hard as I can, and with the audit, and after that, it's really kind of out of our hands and waiting for everything else with the filings to be processed and things like that. So that's really where I'm coming from. I got um, my nose to the grind and really just trying to work everything out and get this underway for everybody and really build upon this. And Mike is the guy that's taking it to the finish line here. So we're working hard and we're trying to do what we have to do. So that being said, Mike, you have anything else you want to say or?
No, I think I wanted to bring on Jason Black. Actually, I wanted to bring him on just so that a lot of people think that you guys are the same. And as when you and I first met, and you brought me on board here. As everybody knows, Jason was the prior CEO. He's kind of consultant because of him running the company before, and I don't see him in here. I thought that I sent him a message. I thought he was going to jump on, just to help dispel that. I kind of wanted to bring everything out, looking at the stock side. I just know people are always questioning, is it him? Is it you? Is it me? And it's kind of tiring at sometimes, trying to do the things that we do. And, I'm always saying like how quiet you are, and it's like, we don't even, I think that for last year, I mean, working together, it's like we talk about business. You're a very quiet guy. And, I think that just people hearing, hey, here he is, right? Like, today you put out that awesome, press release that we had that meeting and, just saying, hey, here we are with the audits, here's what's going on. I think I just got a
Right.
message here from Jason.
And keep in mind, folks, everything's a process. So, with the audit, and as I said before, you're kind of at the mercy of them. So you can only go so far until they respond back after all that's done. So keep that in mind, and you know, and things are moving underway, as I said. So if there's any doubts, again, here I am. I'm a real person. I'm always working, as much as I can, and even tonight. That's why I don't have a lot of time. So really trying to get this underway for us, and we all make money. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I'm just, do you see Jason Black in here?
Um,
I don't see him. I wanted him to just address it too, just be able to dispel some nonsense right from the get go. I don't see him. Uh, listeners,
yeah, I
listeners.
haven't seen him either. Bear with me 1 second, people.
No, I don't see him. I'm scrolling to the bottom. I don't see it. Man, I can't see him. He's messaging me, guys, and I apologize. I'm not the. You would think for a tech guy, I'd be able to work the spaces. Many times we talk about going to a different platform for that reason. Okay, hold on. I have a request. Let somebody there speak. All right, hold on. I'm in a different form here. No, I don't. I don't see you, Jay.
He said he unmuted himself, but I don't hear him either. He said he sent a request to speak.
Yeah, I see that. I don't see him though. I apologize, guys, for the technical issue. We've got to figure out a better platform.
Yeah, trying to do this. I'm actually on my way in transit here, and um,
Okay, give me 1 second. Can anybody else that I've activated? Can anybody else speak?
Can you hear me?
I can. Yes.
Hey, thank you so much for your time. While we're waiting for Jason, I was going to ask. I know there was like a 25-cent price target about a year ago. I was curious, with all the stuff you've been working on, is that still valid? Is it been adjusted in any way? Are you able to speak on that in any way?
well, that was from a debt under previous management, and I was hoping Mr. Black was able to talk so he could kind of help me clear that up for you guys.
No, I think he
Um,
was talking about. Didn't you give a message, Jay, where you and Caruso did the thing where your target price was 25 cents? I think that was what his question was. Not about the open shares. I think that was something Jason was going to address. I'm sorry.
yeah, my apologies. Mr. Black would be able to verify that more than I could.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, um,
Yeah, I don't think I could see him on here.
yeah, it's really an issue here, and it's really driving me crazy. So
Another question I
I
have
still
with that.
believe I still believe we're going to hit that 25-cent mark in full confidence. To be honest with you, as me speaking, um, I think in terms of it rising, there's no question it will. We're getting all our ducks in a row. I don't think there'll be any problems with us hitting that goal. Unfortunately, as I said before, these things are taking time. So, um, with audits, the filings, all that stuff takes time, unfortunately. And I wish it was sooner, but you got to do it the right way, and you got to do it correctly. And there's a lot of wheels turning to make that happen. And as I said before, once you go through the audit, you're at the mercy of them. So, however long they take to respond to that is really where it's going to be coming from. So, but I have all the confidence in the world that's going to hit 25 cents.
That's awesome. I know last year you were saying that you were potentially going to recruit this attorney Rhonda to represent you. Did you end up going with her? Because I know you kind of made another statement saying that you did not go with her at that time. Did you use her? Did you use someone else? Are you able to tell us who you did use?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Um, so yeah, we didn't really go with Rhonda. Can you guys still hear me?
I can. Yes.
All right, my fault. I'm sorry, guys. Having a little difficulty on my end here. Um, so I didn't go with Rhonda. Mike, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? We're really going with a different route. But Mike can probably field those questions better than I can.
No, I think that that's not something that I don't know how to say it. I don't want to say it's just not something we're going to discuss with just 40 people, in the Spaces event. That would be more of a press release, or that'll come out in the filings for us. Who exactly, we've retained as far as auditors. Everybody knows about Borgers. We talked with Rhonda. We went some ways, but I think that's just a difficult one for us to really dig into at this point. We're going to get way off base when we start talking about what we did there.
Hey, thank you. I totally understand. I know there was also, it looked like there was about 300 million shares that were diluted after expert market. Are you able to speak
Mm-hmm.
on what's going on with those and why you
Yeah,
had to?
that's of course that's what I wanted. Jason Black, he was really involved in the overview there. There was no that was old debt. Hold on one second, guys. I'm trying to work through this to get him on. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can add him to discuss that with what we were doing with that 300 million shares. And it actually wasn't 300 million. The number's different. Give me one second, guys.
Yeah, and I apologize. That's why I'm kind of under the gun here. I'm trying to get him on as well.
I have a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that it made me the guy who was supposed to be speaking. I was just requesting, and I didn't know if it. Excuse me. Well, thank you guys for putting this on. Let me say that first of all.
No,
And
we appreciate it, man.
absolutely, I know it's been a long, crazy year for you guys, especially as well the people who were excited to invest. So patience levels goes up and down through a lot of people, but we're glad to see that you're still doing things. And my question is relates to once the audit is completed. My question is concerning the Form 10 that I guess we have to file. And I'm under the small awareness that it takes a good, what I thought was, or what I thought I heard was 30 to 60 days. And then I've heard people discuss a fast track ability
Mm-hmm.
to that process as well. So my question is, are we going to be able to, once the auditors have gotten everything put in, will we be under the normal Form 10 timeline, or will we get to possibly short track it or fast track it?
Sure.
And that is my question.
If it's okay, Jay, I'll answer that since I just had that meeting today with the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
So what we have to look at, right, is we removed the Form 10. We requested to remove it. So we
I,
removed that Form 10. Remember that? So
I
we
do.
don't have the 60-day period. It doesn't pertain to us. One thing I can say is, I mean, Jason's been great with guiding me and letting me really work with the SEC as we're growing. And what I found out is as we're working with them, we're dealing directly with them. So it's almost, there is a fast track, if that makes sense. And that was actually what my call was today with them, discussing where we're at with our audit and some things that were going on, about, when we refile and how fast things happen. And I think, the biggest answer we get is we're at the mercy of them. I think we say it a lot where it's like, hey, you know, we wish that we could make things happen right now, but you have to think, when I came on board and it was a matter of we wanted to make this so much bigger, where Jason and I would talk for hours on how big we wanted to make the company. And, where my request was, hey, I want to really run this thing. And, as we got there, we started all new filings. We started everything over. And that just seemed to take more time than anybody really expected, if that makes sense. And I think that as we were doing that, that was what was slowing us down. And that's where we were missing, timelines that were put out, that we were looking at things, but it was just a matter of understanding, how they work and how things are moving along, and how we work with them, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And the SEC has shown to be slow with a lot of things. So that's
Oh,
understandable.
yes.
Yeah.
um, and I guess, did you guys have, like, did y'all have to go through, like, dealing with a bad transfer agent or a couple bad characters over the course of the last year, or like right prior to getting in with CNNA?
No, I think what you were talking about there was, we had to, with the whole Borgers thing, with the audit. It wasn't so much a transfer agent issue. It was more Borgers. And that was something that was one of my first really big duties I was tasked with, to handle that when we switched over with the auditor, because we kind of heard it was coming. And I remember when Jason, when you and I spoke about that, and it was like, baptism by fire, here we go. But that was really the bigger issue, not so much a transfer agent.
Okay. All right. Cool, man. Well, that's all I have to ask. Keep what you guys have going on looks awesome. Looking forward to hearing more about the stem cell and advances in that. The health thing looks awesome. I probably will be one of your healthcare clients since I'm an independent contractor and don't have health insurance. So,
Well, man,
um,
I'd love to talk to you more about that. And I know that um, you know we're already 20 minutes into this on the stock thing, which everyone's talking about. I mean, we really want to talk about some things we're doing, but we can go deeper in that. And I say this multiple times tonight, man. You can always email me. You can always message us. Kelly does a great job. Direct messages. I mean, you can message me on here. She handles our social media as well. But when it comes to the business of what we're doing, we are always looking, to grow and add to things that we can to help people out, if that makes sense. And I mean, independent contractors. I mean, it's what we are, right? So I think that's why it's so big for us to help out that group of people, if that makes sense.
awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, I'm gonna hop off the mic so other people. Thank you so much for the time and doing this. And I'll get in touch with you about the health stuff here
Yeah,
soon.
man,
First,
definitely. If you reach out,
all
I
right,
mean, if it's not me, it'll be one of our salespeople, but they'll get you the info. Okay.
all right, sounds great.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Gus.
All right, bye.
All right, guys.
So I'm just gonna jump in real fast here, and that's what we were trying to say. So because I'm wrapped up in all, the administrative stuff, the audits, the filings. That's all I'm doing, and meeting with people and things like that. So that's why you guys don't hear from me much. I'm running around constantly. I really don't have time to. Um, get on there and be quite as involved, and that's why Mike's part of this, because he's the info guy. He knows what he's doing, and I wouldn't give him the confidence if he didn't. With that being said, which I'm sorry I keep repeating myself, but as I said, I don't really have a much leeway as far as time. I got about 7 minutes. Mike, would you be able to handle the rest of this,
Yeah,
or?
hold on, Jay. Well, I'm going to try to mute everybody. I added Jason Black. I really wanted to get him on while you were on. Give me 1 second. I'm going to mute
Yeah,
everybody. Hold on a second.
that's I've been trying, but
Yeah.
see if you can
Hold on one
do
second,
better than
guys.
me.
All right, you guys can hear me. I muted everybody else, but I still don't see you, Jason Black, anywhere. I know you're real.
I was trying to find them, but I can't find them.
No, I'm going to try to mute you real quick. Hold on.
He calls, you put him on speaker so that we can hear him as well.
No, because I wouldn't be able to do that because I'm on the phone.
Okay.
Hold on, guys. Host is recording. Yeah, I can't even see you, Jason. I'm so sorry, man.
Yeah, and where I'm at, again, I'm doing this virtual, so I'm using my cell phone
Hmm.
here, and it says I have six other listeners, but
Yeah,
I
that's what
can't
I showed
get,
too, and I can't add those listeners, and I think that's where he's at.
and I'm not the most techie guy, unfortunately. I apologize. I'm pretty good at doing the things I need to do. But
Mhm.
unfortunately,
Has he followed the stock, or have you guys followed his stock?
Yeah, no, he's following us. I mean, I see that. I followed him back. Um, he sent me a
hey
picture.
Mike, do you have
Yeah,
WhatsApp?
I do. Of course I do.
Check that. Just check that.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I see it. I mean, I see the message he sent to both of us there. Um, yeah, I mean, Jay, I see you at the bottom of that list in that picture, bud, but I can't, for some reason, I can't add you. All right, hold on. Somebody just sent me a message on what to do. All right, give me 1 second. I need to remove. Give me 1 second, guys.
Next time we'll have IT aboard so we can avoid this.
Yeah, right. All right, I think because I can't have too many speakers. No, I removed all the speakers. Request. The only one I have is Tim Hendricks requesting. I don't even see his request in there.
Can he log off and log back on, or is that a waste of time?
No, you might want to try that, Jay. If you can exit out and come back in, bud. Let me see if I can add him a co-host. I cannot invite him to be a co-host. Hey, JT, I'm gonna kick you off as a co-host and see if I can add him, bud. Just give me a second.
Okay.
Hold on.
Yep.
Now, guys, I'm really sorry. For some reason, I can't seem to add him. So I do have two requests here. Tim, you can talk real quick. It says.
Settings
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think it's a public profile. I couldn't like search him up on Twitter, so maybe his own settings is preventing him from participating in this like public forum.
Okay, that could be it. I mean, I appreciate that. It's something, man. I feel like an ass. I apologize, guys.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bud.
No, so I think that Tim, he just has to unmute his speaker. But if he doesn't figure out how to do that, do you guys have any plans for like the Form 211?
It says send request. Yeah, that will be filed as well. I'm sorry. Hold on, I got 20 people messaging me now trying to help me out, guys. I apologize.
It's all good.
Yeah, I can't seem to add him. I'm not sure why. 1 second. All right. As I'm trying to have somebody help me here, guys, I don't want to waste time. What can I, is there any other questions I can really answer on Prodigy stuff before we dive into really what we've done and what's going on over the past year?
Yeah, I mean, like, what have you guys been doing with Prodigy? Like, like it's been I think the last time we heard you guys like talk was like February. Like what's been going on?
So what we have been adding, I would say, divisions. I wanted to create an ecosystem. I think the whole process here was to take stem cell and health plus RX and add other divisions. And that was a huge undertaking for us because, not only did we have to go out and find the right strategic partners to do that, all the websites had to be built, all the back end platforms had to be built. And then ultimately, it was to create that ecosystem and tie everything together. And that was a big thing for us to be able to say, hey, if you're on this page and we're tying it together, we can now do this. If you're on that page and just keep it, moving in that way. Somebody just really quick said, Jason Black, did you log in anonymously and did you turn your settings on? I'm sorry. So it was just a matter of being able to connect everything. And it was a massive, massive undertaking. Um, this is going to sound so wrong when I say it, but it was the kind of the blessing in disguise. There's been so much that JT's been working on and then I'm getting involved with the SEC and getting brought up to date on things, but running the operational side and making, things move was massive for us. And it was really taking the time to run that behind the scenes and just make sure that everything worked correctly. And that was really what we've, spent, probably the better part of 9 months on building out and finishing, if that answers the question.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like, so your connection with Dr. Jason, you guys are obviously close because you guys do the podcast together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to be a big part of the company, or what does that look like? What's that look like?
Well, that's a forward-thinking one. You got me on that. So, yeah. So right now he is technically a consultant for us, right? He's an advisor. I'd love to have him. I talk on the podcast. I'd love one day to bring him on board and bring him in. I don't know what that looks like. You're talking about a very reputable doctor who's taken a practice from one patient to now 6,000. Multiple celebrities, which we can talk about some of our brand ambassadors as well. But, he oversees everything that we're doing on the medical end. So everything that we're handling day to day medically, anything that comes down to, hey, we want to offer this service, or we adding mental health, for us to have a doctor of his standard on to oversee it is just massive. So, I mean, yes, I am a patient of his. We've become good friends. We do some other business ventures together. I don't know. I think I think in the next episode of the podcast that comes out, we joke around about it, about making an offer. So I think it's a possibility, right? I think we could be open to it.
Yeah, seems like a match made in heaven.
It would be for sure. All right, let's try to get to some of these questions. I cannot seem to see him for the life of me, and I'm really sorry. I wanted him to address a few things. A couple of the other people that have asked to speak, you're muted. If you want to unmute and ask a question, I'm going to start looking. Tim, you sent a bunch of questions. I'll get there. Retired to the mountain. Can you hear me now? I see that you had something said you couldn't hear.
You mentioned the podcast, and congratulations on that. It looks really awesome. Are you going to be timing additional episodes in a way that relates to this expert market exit? Are you waiting on that happening before you do have like a meaningful guest on there? Or do you think that we might see someone join you guys before you guys leave the expert market?
So I think the podcast, it's a great question. So I'm going to be really blunt. So I think that we were really reserved in focusing, and I was really busy working with JT on the expert market side, the filings, looking at everything, going through the audits. I mean, you have to realize we had to re-audit some companies. We had to go back, the Borgers thing. And that's all well and good. But at the end of the day, I'm a businessman. And every one of you on here are shareholders. At the end of the day, it's revenue, right? So if I was brought on to generate revenue and we're not generating revenue, then what good are we? Like, say we come off the expert market tomorrow, which we're not, but say we did. If we have no revenue for our next quarterly, then what's it worth? So I think that we were trying so hard there, but then it was like, hey, as we set a deadline for ourselves and said, hey, when we finish this, we're pushing. That was our big launch. That's what we were doing. We were pushing. So then to the podcast is sponsored by Prodigy, but it's not affected by it, if that makes sense. So actually, I believe the podcasts are going to be Mondays or Tuesdays, and they will be pushed out starting this week coming up. So we'll start that. And no, it won't hold back, if that answers the question. And we're also looking at, we will have speakers. Hey, guess who I got? Jason Black. He won his 7 arts. Hold on a second. Does that answer your question first before I get to JB?
Hey, yeah. Thank you so much for answering all my questions. I appreciate you.
No, man, definitely. So listen, I'm going to bring him on real quick. Jason, I added you. Is that you on 7 arts? Unmute yourself, bud. There you are, the infamous Jason Black. So
I was going nuts listening. I'm like, let me go back in through 7 arts because my personal isn't working. So
yeah, no. Well, listen, right? So we have Tucker, we have you.
Right.
I think that I wanted to, and you heard me, right? Like, I wanted to dispel the bullshit. Where is Tucker real? Is it Jason Black? Is it this?
Yeah.
We have all these questions, and it's like I sit there and look at it like, knowing that you consult for us, being the ex-CEO. It's not like you and I don't have this. I don't speak to you on a daily basis. I mean, we speak through emails, and you update me.
No, and it's basically that I've just made myself available because I know the history of the company so well. So it's just any questions anyone has. I'm an open book about it. Or if there's a document I need to go search for, I can pull it up. So
I think the biggest question that was asked that has been asked to me a couple of times. Some people say it's 300 million. We looked and saw it was closer to like 180. If you want to address that.
It's funny from what I looked at, and it's kind of funny because people think they think it had some, like, the expert market was related to that, but actually the expert market might have been a blessing in disguise in preventing that, because what it was is I had a deal structured as I was exiting to restructure that debt, and that was agreed at a much more favorable conversion rate. And then they tried to slip it in. I think it was about 130 million shares under everybody's nose. Under the original terms. So the TA is aware of that. So those shares are issued, but they're never going to, they're going to end up, I'll work with Tucker and the TA on that with the documents I have. That's going to end up getting clawed back because that was a shady move that a debt holder pulled. So I wouldn't even sweat that. It was actually just kind of fortunate in that sense. Not it's fortunate to ever go in expert market, but that happened because they were never able to, do anything with that issuance.
No, and I think that I tried to explain it, and Jason's like, you should probably just ask JB about it, right? That was a big one. So I think that I wanted you to really explain that about the old debt situation, how it was, how it's not affecting us.
There's some debts that I had to take to fund the company back in the day, but during the exit, I wanted to, knowing what I was hoping you guys be able to do, which I believe you're doing it, and it looks great. I knew that I'd be able to kind of renegotiate that stuff. So that's what I did, going out the door, and they tried to slip through the old agreement under everybody's nose. So that's not going to fly. That's going to end up getting clawed back. So I wouldn't even worry about it. The TA is never going to release those shares.
Okay. And I think that was, again, my biggest thing, right? I mean, I know that we lost 10 minutes of our technological issues here, right? But, it's where I wanted you and Tucker, right? Because it's like,
and that's the kind of stuff that I work with him on. So, so everyone knows, yes, he is a real person. Just because we have the same first name doesn't mean, it's ridiculous. And, the people that started that, I won't name names, but everyone knows who certain persons that I don't like very much. He should know better, be the first one, because he's a CEO. He knows that OTC runs a background check, takes your social. Tucker's been through all that before with LEAS. So it's just a ridiculous notion. Anyway.
No, it is. So, man, well, you fought that whole time to get on, and I think that was the big question Does
Right.
anybody else have a question that I could refer back to Jason from old stuff? Was there anything that was
Yeah.
jumping out before we keep digging into the prodigy?
Well,
I know
thank
that
you so much, Jason, for coming on. It's awesome
Yeah.
that you're addressing this stuff and addressing, he who shall not be named. And, he's
Right.
speaking very boldly, like, this cannot happen. You will not escape. Is that
Yeah.
just
Okay.
based on your personal
Whatever.
background? Or, I mean, you're confident that that's all BS, basically.
Oh, it's all
Right.
BS. It's all total BS.
Yeah,
There's, that's it. That's just a joke. So, yeah, it's not even worth mentioning. Whatever he thinks he's
yeah,
he's a lunatic. That's imploding because his own reputation. There's only so far you can go pointing the finger at everybody else when you're one of the worst actors in the arena. So, and that's all it's ever been, is a deflection on his own action. So it's not even worth. I wouldn't take any of that with seriously whatsoever. So
No, and we try not to mention him or entertain what he says. I mean,
yeah,
I know that you and I have discussed it in the past, and it's always take the higher road. Sometimes you get pissed and
yeah.
respond,
Well,
and
I've fallen in that trap too, where
yeah.
everybody, we're all human. Sometimes, I start unloading on things, but whatever. I mean, that's all. It's all nonsense. So,
All right, cool.
that's where we're
Well,
at on that. I wouldn't even waste any time. Like, what Mike is doing and what Tucker are doing. I mean, this is going to be a great company. I feel very confident. It's hard to kind of let a company go that you built. People forget when I took this thing over years ago, it had an 8.9 billion OS. It was administratively dissolved in Wyoming. I mean, the thing was a mess. So it took me a long time to get it to where it's at. So, it's not easy to just give a company over to other management, but I'm very confident in what they're doing, that it's going to be worth it in the end. Sometimes you just got to put your ego aside, like some people who won't be named can't do. You got to put your own ego aside and leave it to more capable people when it's time. I took it as far as I could. Now it's time to put something really viable in, and I think that's what Mike's going to do, Mike and Tucker. So, I'm very confident in what they're doing. I'm
man,
excited to see it all unfold myself, because I'm an outside observer, really.
no, man. I think I appreciate it, right? Like, I mean, we don't know each other that great, but I think is the stuff that you've been able to kind of shed and point in certain directions has
Right.
really helped. So, well, man, listen, I just wanted you to just mention that about that because I knew that you could address that outstanding stock issue. I
Yeah.
got some other people that want to talk. I'll keep talking about Prodigy. Jay, if you guys just if you'll mute yourself again, Jay, and then just
That's fine.
listen. If I got to add you, but I will. I know that Tucker messaged me. He's driving, but he said he's got me on the car stereo, so hopefully he thinks I sound good.
All right. Well, I'll hang around. No problem.
Cool, man. Thank you, bud.
All right.
Anybody else? We can really dig into the Prodigy stuff here.
I could
Go ahead.
ask a quick question. I was gonna ask something about the 25-cent price target because Jason Tucker had mentioned that Jason Black could speak something about that. But regarding Prodigy, I'll just like to know more about the Elite Health Group and if that's gonna act as one subsidiary with all the divisions under that, or if it's gonna be like up to 7 different subsidiaries and just the management structure behind that.
No, great. So I will come back to Jason to see if he wants to say anything on the 25 cents. I think that Tucker was maybe confused when we were talking about that. That's where that was mentioned. But as far as I think it'll act as one, and that was a big thing for me. It was like as we were building it out, it was like different arms and different facets. There were so many different categories that we could touch. It was a matter of saying, okay, well, let's create this division, create this division. So I think the ultimate goal, that we've worked on, and like I said, with that ecosystem is creating the Prodigy Elite Group, where in essence, right now we have the 2 subsidiaries, but the goal would be to combine everything as one big revenue machine. And creating that ecosystem that once you're in the system, now you have access to all these different facets. If that answers your question, Tim.
Oh yeah, totally. And I'm excited to hear more about it with the upcoming press releases.
Well, definitely, man. I think that, we had the team put out the press release today, and we talked about some of the things we were working on, what we've been building, and you've got today, like, was a big day for us. I mean, we had successfully had Prodigy Health Plus. We had members that were already on. We chose not to bill those members when we were in the expert market, because we wanted to take that time to fine tune everything. And I just didn't think it was a good look for us, as much as people would say, yeah, but you could have made revenue. But we were able to utilize those people in what we would call like a beta test, and reach out to those people and have weekly and monthly, interactions, like, what features do you like? What would you like us to add? Do you want us to add mental health, which obviously we are adding the mental health piece. Did you want virtual physical therapy, which I think is great, that you can look on an iPhone and talk about your sore shoulder and talk with the licensed physical therapist. So we started adding more and more pieces. And that was where we really got, the Prodigy Elite group from, to start that and run it that way.
I have a question.
Okay, I'm just looking at some questions. Go ahead.
Do you still have the same ambassadors, and also have you experienced any problems with the stem cell side regarding the FDA?
That's a good one. We do have, we do have the same, and we've added some ambassadors. We've been working on those. We've actually shot a bunch of content with our brand ambassadors. We have some that we haven't unfolded or released. We have that, and I think, it's every one of them actually shot content in our studio, and there's bits and pieces of them on the podcast, and you'll start seeing, on our social media, you'll see who these ambassadors are with their links, and they'll be doing content as well. So yes, we have those. We're not gonna tell everybody today, right? I mean, we've got to keep some things, exciting to unfold. And then as far as the stem cells, in March, I think you guys saw today, we had a meeting, and I was put in charge and overseeing everything, all the Prodigy groups. And one of the things that, we were really working on with the stem cell is the FDA, like what's legal in the country, what's not, sources, all these things that we had to really fine tune. Because as Prodigy Stem Cell was a great company, and it was acquired by Cnna as a subsidiary. Things were moving, but the laws were changing so fast. So many things were occurring, and it was something that we had to look at. So yes, we are up to date on that. Everything is really, really rocking over on the stem cell side. I know a lot of people are excited about stem cells. Are kind of new. The FDA doesn't really call them stem cells. They look at human tissue and Wharton's jelly as a suspension. There's some tricky terms and tricky things going on there, but the stem cell side is actually extremely enticing and exciting to me. I know you guys have all seen, Adam Shear, who wrestles for the WWE, Braun Strowman, still an ambassador. Like I said, we just shot some content with him. We've got a lot of things coming up. He is on the podcast. He's big in the stem cell side. He's been doing a lot for us, behind the scenes with the stem cell and other big athletes he's been bringing to us and things of that nature. So that's a really interesting market, to say the least.
Does having the like telemedicine healthcare side of the business allow you to have relationships with doctors that make this that benefit the stem cell side of the business? Is there like a symbiotic relationship there that exists?
Dive into that a little bit deeper for me. I'm not sure I understood the way you phrased it, if that makes sense.
Well, I guess when I think about the telemedicine side of the business, I think, okay, well, you guys have a bunch of healthcare providers that work within your network, and
Mm-hmm.
then separately, you have a stem cell subsidiary, which I guess provides stem cells, right? And I would think, maybe I'm reaching here, but I would think that maybe having this network of healthcare providers at your disposal would allow you to move more units. Basically, I don't know if that's a thing that actually exists or not. or are they just completely separate?
Yes and no. So we basically, what we were able to do is, everybody knows, we use companies like Carrington and Manifest, and, we have different companies that are vendors for us that we partner with. So we have this vast network. And in that network, yes, we've been able to meet other doctors. And it turned out when we had stem cell, it's why we started a division, Prodigy Marketing, which we'll really get into, because we were like, as we were selling stem cells and having contact, the amount of doctors that really didn't know enough about it, we had to start educating them. And then it kept coming back to us where it was like, hey, man, if you guys are doing this, like, why don't you help us with our marketing? And it was just something that JT and I looked at. He was like, go ahead, man, start a marketing division. And that's what we did. We wanted to have an in-house marketing division to help these other doctors. As we're seeing more and more doctors come on board in our networks, it was really a no-brainer. And like when you say that symbiotic relationship, that's where I looked at it. Like you were already doing a telemed visit, or you were doing an urgent care visit. You're a virtual primary care doctor, and we're already working together on this side. Well, what if you sold stem cells? What if you wanted to administer stem cells in your brick and mortar? So yes, it's been working really well for us, if that kind of answers where you were going symbiotic wise and what we're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? People want to speak and talk about I see that Tim asked a ton of questions. Various marketing campaigns, target audiences, how has membership increased? So what we did was that launched today for us. So it was a nationwide release. Those campaigns were extremely received well this morning. I mean, I think we had over 6,500 clicks to the website within like the first 20 minutes, which kind of blew my mind. I haven't seen the final numbers on what happened today. We did some, again, I would say beta marketing as we were testing out our marketing way. So our target audience is really everybody. We say that with Prodigy Health Plus, it's not insurance, it's healthcare. And it's a great bolt-on to people that have insurance, but it's also kind of a necessity if you don't have insurance. And it's about giving people access. There's so many people that don't have access to healthcare. And, here we are. I mean, there's 40 people in here and we're talking, and everybody's in different parts of the country. And it's like we're able to talk. So why aren't we utilizing technology? So I think that was a big thing for us, is we said, hey, let's target actually the US. I mean, obviously we're based here out of Orlando, so this is a big market for us. Dr. Jason, our medical consultant, is in Port Orange, which is just south of Daytona Beach. So this is a big target area for us as well. We have a huge following here already. So I think it's kind of easy for us because our name is known in this area. Tim asked that. Tim talked about the subsidiaries. Does the Chevron thing affect anything with the FDA? I don't know. That's a really good one, Silverado. I'll be interested to see what happens with the whole Chevron thing, and I don't want to educate anybody on what that Supreme Court overruling or turning would do, but it's going to prove to be very interesting to see what happens with that. You guys heard from Tucker. I'm just looking through here. What's left to be filed? Again, Silverado, everything's done on our side. It's just auditors now, and then us putting that together, filing agent-wise, Form 10, and we'll go from there. I'm not seeing any other questions, factors. So I think, and I don't know, Jason, I mean, he's still on, but he's driving. He said he had bad service. I want to address the end of the month thing. I think that there's only so many words to use. If it's soon, if it's anticipate, if it's expect. And I think that at times, like, you forget that, like what Jason said, it's only us. We can't control outside people. So if we anticipate it's done, great. But what do we do when our SEC attorney's on vacation? What do we do when, our new auditor says, hey, I've got 16 other clients who came from Borders as well, and you guys are a penny stock and I believe in you, but we're talking massive companies. Well, I mean, as a businessman, a massive company is going to pay more money than we are. So when those things are happening, we can't control that. Like, we cannot we just really can't tell them like, hey, no, you have to do this for us. You have to do this. I wish we could, but we can't do that. Go ahead.
I don't know how much you can say, but can you expand on like what happened with burgers and like the whole auditing process?
Yeah, I think that the best thing there would be, everybody knows that they were misrepresenting themselves and they weren't doing things the right way by the book, and the SEC caught on to that, and there was us and another 1,499 that were caught up in that. What we found out was that as they were doing our audits, there were pieces that were missing, and that didn't look good for any of the companies. And we had heard those things, like we heard rumors, but again, we all hear rumors, right? So we didn't know, and it kind of, that's where Tucker and I, we relied on Jason Black there, like, hey, who do you think would be another really good auditor? We had a guy in mind. We ended up going with that company, but it was like as soon as we reached out to that company, we were like 25th on the list. People were jumping ship so fast when those rumors started to spread. And it was just like, man, it was a lot. It was a lot of stuff that was happening. And it was just a matter of getting in line and then saying, okay, well, we had boarders going back and looking at our filings from 21, 22, getting into 23, going to year end at 24, which just ended for us. This was our goal that we had, but now we're taking that to another auditor and then saying, okay, here's everything they did, but obviously because there was an issue, we want you to look it over again. So it was like almost being audited twice, if that makes sense. And I think that's when it was like, hey, in February, we think we're good. Well, man, we think we're good, but then it comes out like, guys, this is going to be another 8 weeks of this, and we need more information, and we have to do this. And I think people don't look at it that way, and they don't understand that, if that makes sense to you.
No, absolutely. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Robert Miller, I don't understand your question. If you can ask it, that would be great. Hold on. Did you request to speak, Robert Miller? Good. There we go. Hey, Mr. Miller, can you hear me?
Hey guys, quick question. Sorry, I'm driving, so I tried to type as few words
No,
as
you're
this
fine.
question. Okay, so my question is autogenous stem cells versus like harvested from the donor recipient versus banked cord blood. What do you consider the gold standard? And I know it's changing, but just tell me your thought process on sourcing stem cells.
So, no, listen, that's a super technical question. So I think we have a partnership with two different labs, both highly regulated labs, both in the U.S., one in Florida, one in Tennessee. And all their stem cells are harvested. They're all, everybody's screened. They go through their strict process, and they've had great success that way. So we kind of follow their lead. We're one of their larger clients, we'll say, but everything right now is going from the harvested from the umbilical cords. That people are pre-screened and to get to the lab. If that kind of answers that. We're not looking at the autogenous side right now. We could, down the road, but I think for us, it's the gold standard is the two extremely reputable companies, that are doing human tissue right now that have been doing them for years in the U.S. And as you know, it's been extremely difficult with FDA regulation and some oversight there. Did that answer your question, Mr. Miller?
Yes, that's good. That was basically what I was thinking, but I didn't know, like 5 years from now, what's the gold standard? Well, no one knows, but
No one knows.
your
You're very
openness,
correct.
your openness to exploring, what as the gold standard changes, you're not locked into one technology. I guess that was
Correct. No, no, definitely. I think that, listen, if we're not evolving, we're dead. And I think that's my
right.
biggest thing with all the prodigy stuff, everything being cutting edge. I mean, I've talked about it so many times. How is it that I can be at a baseball game or a football game and I can do a telemedicine visit on a Sunday morning at 8:30, drinking a beer, tailgating. It's a Sunday. Like, you used to have to go to urgent care. You'd have to wait. You'd have to do that. So why aren't we using the technology that we have? And we don't know. I mean, I don't know what's coming next year, as far as technology. I mean, it's constantly evolving. I
Right.
mean, we see AI now, and is it artificial intelligence? Is it algorithmic? We have so many different things happening. I mean, things are constantly evolving. So I don't know what the gold standard will be in 6 months, but I think it's a big
Right.
goal for us to always stay ahead of the curve.
Good. Sounds good. Well, I'm looking forward to hitting those target dates. And I know you can't say what the target dates are because you probably don't know what the target dates are, but there's a lot of us patiently waiting on the sidelines because we believe in the technology.
Man, listen, I'll say this. It means a lot for you to say that to us, and I know some people feel that way and don't. Where they're like, you're trapped. I just want, like I've said this to a couple people. A question was asked once about, a gentleman asked, were we acquired? Where'd the money come from? I think it was the mountain guy. There was preferred stock that was issued to me, not common, and that can't move during the expert market. Nothing can happen. So when everything occurred last March and May for us, that was through a preferred stock deal. It didn't affect the stock. It doesn't affect anything, but there was no cash transfer. It wasn't a deal where it was like, hey, we're going to give you this money, and then go with it. And that was sometimes implied by people with their frustrations. And I respect it because it's not something that's talked about. But yet here we are taking on debt in essence, doing this work and not saying, okay, well, we need to borrow shares or we need to raise capital to do this. And when people would ask questions like, well, are you capital flush? And is this and that? Well, yes, we are. We're just not looking to take the money from the company. We can repay it back, if that makes sense, at a later date. Right now, the biggest thing was not bankrupting Cnna and not putting ourselves into a ton of debt to build out the ecosystem. So that was something I wanted to just address there. I know there's a couple other people that are able to speak as well.
Yeah, I was curious. So the Prodigy Elite Group website I'm seeing is under construction. Do you
Yep,
have anticipated time for that to come out of construction?
I do. It was my choice to not launch it today, and the reason was simple. With our big launch around Prodigy Health Plus, think of options. If we were really focusing on Health Plus and launching today, and then we're like, hey, here's the elite group, and then you get to see this roadmap and you get to see everything. Well, we just took the eyes off the prize. The prize for us is Prodigy Health Plus. So I anticipate that within the next few days. I just didn't want to release it on the same day, because then we're taking away. People are like, no, wait a second. Here's Health Plus, but what's this? What's this? What's this? It's like, I think to myself when I go in a candy store, I mean, there's so many different things. I don't know what to get. But yet, if I just walked up and all you had was M&Ms and peanut butter cups, I know what I would pick, if that makes sense. So I think that was something I looked at, to say, hey, I don't want to release it all in the same day. Just like the Cnna site, completely new site, rebranded, new logos, ties back in. They're our parent company. So everything that our sites do underneath all report back up. That's getting rolled out in the next few days. That's going to be a big one for us. That could be early next week. But all these sites have been built, all the back ends are tied together, so it's just a matter of keeping the eye on the prize, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And like you've said, we all have an interest in success for CNNA. Are there things that we can do as investors or not do that are beneficial to our, our shared goal of being.
I don't think there's any. I mean, listen, I wish that everyone would sign up for our products. At the end of the day, remember this, and I think I mentioned it before, and this is something that actually I learned from Jason Black when I first came into the public world. Revenue is king. Like, and it's what I said. Like, if we're not creating revenue, what's the stock price? I mean, imagine if Apple didn't promote iPhones and Apple Watches, and they were just like, "Oh, we're this great company." But if you're not buying iPhones, if we're not coming out with new phones, if we're not coming out with new watches, new iPads, new MacBooks, what are we doing? We need to create revenue. And it's the same thing. I mean, I would never compare myself to Apple, Tesla, Amazon, any of them. They're all selling products. The value comes in the revenue. So as a shareholder, yeah, it'd be great if everybody became members, if they utilized it. And it's something we've looked at. We just actually requested a list. I think I might say it the wrong way, but it's called a Nobu list. And it actually allows us to see every shareholder because we want to be able to go back to those shareholders. And one of the things that we're doing on the Cnna site and the Prodigy Elite site is for our shareholders to all sign up for notifications. I mean, that press release came out today, but I'm a big fan of letting that, getting an email. You're a shareholder. You believe in us. So why wouldn't you get an email as opposed to having to look on AccessWire, Yahoo? But also being able to say to our shareholders, hey, you're a shareholder. Here's a promotion, or take advantage of this. So, I see a lot of value in that because we're only as strong as our product. So I think for us, as we really grow, it's just about people using our product. I mean, I'm a huge investor in Apple, and everything I own is Apple. I'm a big fan of it. I love their products. So I think that I use the products. I support it. That's why I invest in it. That's why I'm proud of it. So again, I'm not comparing myself to Apple by any means for somebody to say that, but it's the same premise that they all do.
Can I ask something?
Anybody can ask anything. I mean, I'm going to go longer. I had it scheduled for an hour, but obviously we had technical issues for 20 minutes. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So obviously you guys have that podcast going on. Throughout the past year, have you guys gained any other sports ambassadors or people that might be on the podcast or people that might be interested in endorsing the company? Is that something
Yes.
that you guys could even talk about?
I won't talk about it tonight. Yes, there are we have a total of 4 celebrity ambassadors, we'd say, right now. 3 of the 4 have been on the podcast. 3 of the 4 have been in the studio. You guys know about Adam, obviously, Braun Strowman, but that's the only one we're going to mention now because we have some press release stuff based around them and how they're going to roll that out to their different industries, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got that. Okay.
But yes, we're very happy with the ambassadors that we were able to select. Any other questions? Great spaces. Thank you. Happy I could answer. Listen, I mean, somebody says here's, the internet in Texas. I mean, I live in Florida. So my heart goes out, my prayers to everybody that's in Texas dealing with this because as a Floridian, I know what it's like when these hurricanes come. It's not fun at all. So somebody said they had spotty service. Okay. I'm trying to see some of the other questions, guys, that were posted here. I think I answered most of them. If I haven't answered, if you want to repost one or request to speak up, I'd be happy to add you to let you speak. I think this is always what happens, right? We see a lot of people want to talk, but then we can't really engage. It's tough, I think that what I want to say is with Prodigy Elite, we'll see, you guys will be able to see that here in the coming days, what all the different divisions are. They're great. They each function in their own, but together. And I think, you guys already know that we have Health Plus and Stem Cell. We have RX, which is our prescription plan, which is phenomenal. Really rivals Good RX and beats out other people's. We have the Stem Cell, so we've got 3 other ones that are kind of coming out that we're, very excited about. We look at, doing something brick and mortar wise, forward thought, just some things like that, and just really trying to capture what's happening, what's relevant in the market, especially when we look at healthcare. So I think that's something that we really want to look at. I'm just kind of scrolling through here. I kind of cut him off before. JB, is there anything you want to, add or answer? Or is there anything that you want to unmute yourself on here?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, bud.
Well, it's interesting because, somewhat, I'm on kind of both sides of the fence with this because, I have some intimate knowledge of the company. I know you guys, I know the background, but I'm also here kind of like everyone else listening and kind of, reading between the lines and interpreting, because obviously I don't know everything that's going on with your day to day. But, one thing that I'm kind of I know because I was part of during that transition, really, when we're talking even that 25-cent target was really kind of based really around just the stem cell alone. So, I mean, if I'm a shareholder at this point, I might be even changing that expectation because now you have this whole other suite of stuff. It's bigger than the stem cell even. So, that might even be a conservative figure just from someone that's kind of on the outside looking in, but kind of know where that valuation was originally derived from even. So,
I think that's an awesome point, man.
Right. And another thing that I think it was a smart move. I know you're very close with Dr. J, but I think it was a smart move when someone's talking about, going back to one of the other guys was talking about how technology, it changes. You don't know where it's going to be in 6 months, but that goes on with medicine too. So having the doctors, they have to always do continuing education. So, having him as a consultant, you kind of get the two things. He's able to look at your products and kind of be as a third party, keep you honest and say, look, this looks good. This looks like shit. I don't know if this is viable. You know what I mean? By keeping him not a member of the company, I think is kind of better because it gives you someone that can do that. The other thing is he has that continuing education all the time. So he's going to know what's going on in medicine, what's changing as far as FDA stuff, stem cell, all that stuff. So, even having that around you.
That's a conversation that Tucker and I had, and obviously you weren't privy to that. But when Tucker and I were talking, I was like, man, I'd love to bring him on. And he's like, keep him on the outside because he's a consultant now. And obviously he's got a phenomenal practice, right? Like, we talk about it on the podcast. Like, dude, I wouldn't even know what the value would have to even purchase it. Like, that's a whole, again, that's something down the road for us. We talk about wanting to forward think and love to have brick and mortars and everything we talk about in the podcast. But you're also talking about a guy that anybody that watched the podcast, put himself through school, was dirt poor, and now got to where he is, and a big thing like he always says to me is like, he's like, I'm keep your ass in check because it's my license. It's my reputation. So I'll watch what you do from a distance and I'll tell you what to do medically.
Exactly.
And it's what worked out really good for us. I mean, I'd love him, right? I mean, Jason, Tucker, and I have spoke about that many times. But yeah, you're spot on with it, man. I mean, you know where it's going.
Right. So just food for thought for everyone, there's a lot more here than there was a year ago. So, in my opinion, 25 cents might be conservative at this point with everything that the way things are kind of rolling out at this point. The other thing I would say is someone that's been, I'm CEO. I'm on that side of it. I know how that process works with filing and delays and all that kind of stuff and third parties. But I would suggest to everyone with everything that's rolling out and everything that this conversation has been about, it looks pretty obvious that, this expert market thing is like right around the corner. So, I mean, you should be able to read between the lines of why all this is happening now. Why is there a new website coming? Why is all this launching now? So I think shareholders should feel pretty confident on, where the writing is on the wall with all that, in my opinion.
I appreciate you being our big fan, Jay. You know that. I mean, you've always been there to answer questions and There's, again, we don't have that relationship, like I have with Tucker, where I talk to him on a daily basis, but I appreciate it. We got 2 more questions that came in I want to answer.
You got it.
So TL, I think that you may have misinterpreted it. So I'm not an expert in stem cells. Do I think that Wharton's jelly is light years ahead? Yes. It's also why those labs are using it, as opposed to the other options. You have FDA issues, things of that nature. I would tell you, my response would be, does the CEO of Ford know how to change the tires, plugs, brakes, and everything on my truck? Probably not, but has the best team around him. So I think that just that I oversee the stem cell side of it, I don't claim to be the end all know all. And it's just, if you'd like to talk about it, we can talk, but you're just saying somebody should know that. Well, I do, but it's also not for me to give that position. If we wanted to bring Dr. Jason on, or we wanted to bring one of our vendors on to talk about it, they would speak so much more intelligently than I would. So that's how I'll answer that question. I can't even pronounce your name. You say, what is the current capacity of subscribers to Prodigy Health? If 10,000 people signed up in August, could you handle that? I think we're at I don't know after today with the launch. We are sitting well over 2,500 in our test on one side, and probably another 2,000 on the other. With that, yes, we could handle it. We think that, I shouldn't say I think, our vendors that we partner with, have millions. And, one of the approaches we took was really reselling, direct to consumer and marketing a different way. You have so many of these other companies that are, they're direct. You've got companies like, I don't even want to name these companies, but there are other companies that when I was able to be in meetings, with Carrington or with Manifest, and when you see the other names of people that are buying and, reusing their products, they're phenomenal companies. So it's always been a question for me, could you handle this influx? And every time, yes. So we don't ever really anticipate that being an issue, adding more people, if that makes sense. Any plans listening to the OTCQB at some point? Absolutely, man. I think it's a goal. I've said before, and Tucker had to pull the reins in when I was like, man, I want to get to, the NASDAQ. I think QB is probably our first big step. I think if we can get there, that gives us a lot of validity, to be on a QB. So 100%, that's a thought there. Patience, I guess. Mello, you asked, well, hopefully, I know you're in Texas. I hope you're okay. Next podcast will be coming out next week. And then they should be weekly. We had shot 9 episodes so far. So I think you guys have seen 2. We've been shooting them, weekly as, and I shouldn't say weekly, we'll say bi-monthly. Sometimes we've got 3 a month in, but, Dr. Jason's schedule being busy, our guests that we had to bring on, other doctors, celebrities, trying to manage that. But I think that we have enough in what we would call in the bank now to really start, just rolling those out and promoting that as well. That was the last question I see. Any other questions, guys? I'm totally open to answering other questions about Prodigy, what we think, what we see, what we have coming down the line. I think when the Prodigy Elite page comes out, you'll all be very excited because it's a roadmap. You'll actually be able to see all the other companies, divisions. Some of the links will be live. Obviously, Stem Cell, RX, Health Plus. They'll be live. I think marketing is live. But when we look at what's to come, the other 2 divisions, and we're adding another third one, they'll just be rolled out. You'll be able to see them, but you won't be able to actually go to those pages. But you'll be able to see, like, hey, what we're doing. And that's kind of like when, we put that press release together, and Tucker and I were talking with Kelly, our PR lady, and going over everything. It was like, our goal is truly to act just like any other company and just continually roll out updates and updating our products, but also releasing other products to the market. And I think that's good, for us in business as well, because it keeps people very interested in what we're doing. Any other questions, guys? Oh, there we go.
With what you can say legally, what would you say to all the people who invest, believe, and support your company?
Man, that's a tough one. I think that we appreciate shareholders. I can say this from my standard, like a no bullshit answer. It's very difficult for me coming to the public sector from the private, because if this was private, I could tell you everything we're doing, every issue, every hurdle. I would ask some of you your advice on what to do. I would rely on other business people. And when you come into this public realm, it's night and day. And I'm human. I've made mistakes like everybody else. I think that I may have 6 7 months ago been super excited but not realized everything. And it's been a learning process for a lot of us, and I've been very grateful for Jason Tucker and Jason Black, Dr. Jason, Tony, our SEC attorney, Phil, our legal attorney. Like, we have this core group of people, and it's if you're done learning, it's over. Like, it's just like if you're done growing. So I think, to me, like, I appreciate every shareholder, and I wish that we could talk more. And I think it's a goal of ours to talk more. I think, Tucker and I talked about it, starting more press releases, and, really with him being more comfortable with me in a day-to-day side, like was in that press release, and like more things coming out, not just from Prodigy, but now coming out from Cnna as well. We look at it two different, animals, right? You have all the day-to-day, and then you have the stock side. So, I think that as we can communicate better with shareholders, and that's a big thing for me on the new CNA site and the Prodigy Elite site. Like, I would urge everybody to sign up, for text, for emails, for information, because again, shareholders are the backbone. At the end of the day, you're very valuable to me and to Tucker. And I think that we all value that. And at times it's tough to display that. And I think that's a real answer. I mean, I don't know if it's right. I don't know if it's wrong. That's what I feel.
No, I hear you. That was great.
Yeah. I don't see anything else to update it. Any other questions, guys? I'd love to answer everything. You like 7 of my posts? Okay, Money Mo. So, is there an all-in-one app being developed? Yes, there is. So, if any of you know anything about app development, there's a couple different things. So, we are in what we would call an MVP stage, minimal viable product. So, it is functioning. It is an all-in-one. The Prodigy app is probably one of the biggest things I've been working on, and I say in my spare time, but on the side time, because that app is a game changer. And what I say is, I mean, we're here on Twitter, right? Spaces, whatever it is. Like, it wasn't always like this. I mean, think of Facebook, think of Instagram, think of the changes that occurred. So we were able to take this downtime and then take these products and say, okay, what should this app look like? We don't want you to have to go to this app to do a telemed visit, but then go over here to see your prescriptions and go here. And it was about making everything all in one, and having that app, and then also acting as a wallet, saying, hey, here's my ID cards, here's this, and here's my list of prescriptions. One of the really neat things now is, like, on the RX side, you can log into your patient portal, you can see all of your prescriptions. We're actually working on a video now for the rollout of the RX in a couple weeks that's going to show, you actually get a message that, hey, your doctor called your prescriptions in, and then your prescriptions are valid. How do you want to receive them? Are you receiving it overnight? Are you paying $10? Are you doing standard, which is 2 to 3 business days, and it's free? So you can actually go into that portal and see it. So yes, we are. Yeah, I shouldn't say are. We've built it. We are adding to that and getting it up in our Apple development side and our Google Play side. So yes, very excited for the app to come out. I don't see any other questions. Prodigy update. I've got like another good 5 to 10 minutes, guys, to answer anything else that you'd like to know before I wrap it up with a couple things at the end. I'm open to any questions. I think I've answered just about everything I've seen that have been put out there. But if anybody else would like to ask or speak, now would be a great time.
I've heard Tucker referred to as like kind of like an interim CEO to like help you through a transitionary period. I don't know if that's true or not, but you're doing a phenomenal job. You have great poise. You handle difficult questions in difficult situations without missing a beat. You know, you're really terrific at what you do. So I appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate that. I mean, we've joked around. I think time will tell. I don't know what I don't know. I mean, I think that I'd be lost without, JT for sure. And even Jason Black. I mean, there's been so many things that, he's sent me information on. Again, we don't speak, but hey, I want you to read all this stuff, to get updated on how the OTC works or understanding this when I was new. There was just all this information given. But I appreciate the guidance that I really get from Tucker. I don't know if he'll, be here forever. I don't know if he'll want to switch roles with me someday. I don't know. I'm open to whatever I can. But I don't think I'd want to do anything without the guy because unfortunately he is very quiet to you guys. But he's just a kick-ass guy. And for me to be able to learn the things I learned from him and him to guide me and direct me is just, it's awesome. So I appreciate that comment, but I wouldn't be able to do it without his support. And I mean, he's listening, so hopefully I'm not like gunning for your job, JT, but I wouldn't turn it down. Any other questions, guys? Oh, there we go.
Sorry, I was just laughing.
Okay. I think the big thing that really as we wrap up is, when you guys get to see this roadmap is I'm so excited because it has been quiet. And, we have been working diligently behind the scenes to really get out a great product to create revenue. I mean, I'm never going to sit here and tell you what I think the stock price can be. That's for Tucker to say. You heard what Black had to say. Man, where's it going to go? I don't know. I have complete confidence in it. We hear people out there say that, well, we're scamming, we're doing this. Like, man, if you knew the amount of money that was and time that was put into building out this whole ecosystem, there's no scam here. Like, it's crazy, and I can understand it. Like I always say that silence, lets us think of every reason why. It's like, oh man, why didn't we hear? Well, did we not hear for this? And then this rumor mill starts. And I think that was the biggest thing for me where I was like, man, Tucker, JB, like you guys have to get on. And they were both awesome. Like there was zero argument. And, JT was like, absolutely. Like, I don't really talk and I like to work, but yeah, I need to get on to dispel any of these rumors. And that was a big thing for us.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me? Am I
Yes,
on?
I can. You are.
Oh yeah, I heard you talking, and you're gunning for my job and everything.
Nah,
So
come
I
on,
had
man.
no,
Shit.
no, 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 no. I heard what you said. No, but
Dude, oh God, I'm sorry.
no, I just want to say I was listening the whole time, and right now we're a team.
Absolutely.
This is what it is. I have no plans right now, but again, diversity things happen and with business, but right now we're a team. This is what we do, and this is what we're building. This is what we want to do, and I just got like 2 minutes here, so I just wanted to, I appreciate everybody joining in and your questions and your concerns, and I think everyone here can tell that Mike knows what he's doing with what I'm doing, what JB does. I think it's a perfect core, and we're gonna drive it right through the sky. So, and then that's our intention. So, with that said, I just got to my destination, but I did want to just thank everybody for joining in, tuning in, your questions, concerns, like I said. And, again, I'm nothing without Mike. I'm nothing without JB. They're nothing without me, and vice versa as the, carousel goes. So, stay the course, stay with us, and I think it'll be a home run at the end of the day. So, with that said, I just, again, want to thank you all very much. And, I'm going to let you take the reins here, and I'm going to bounce out of here. I got to check in.
All right, bud. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.
All right.
So
Thanks, everybody.
I'm going to wrap up on that. One last question. Yes, we have talked to some colleges, and that's something we're going to discuss a little bit more down the road. We have actually met with several different unions and several different groups, but I do like the college space. And then just that was the last question, but just guys, when a website launches, definitely sign up for the updates. You'll be able to see the roadmap. You'll be able to see everything that we're doing, how it works, what the plan is, what the other divisions are, and what we have to offer. And as always, I mean, I know it's tough to get Tucker, but I ask that, you guys just reach out. You'll see the emails, changing with the new websites and everything, and we can always be reached there. I know Kelly responds to most of you, but I really appreciate it. And I think that, it's the start of some good things. And thank you for sticking it out with us for sure. So with that, guys, I'm going to end the
Mike?
spaces. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, and I just want to let everyone know, I know Tucker, he's not very, vocal publicly, he's not as active with all that stuff, but I can tell everyone, I can assure them, like, he is always in contact with me about anything historical about the company, making sure he has all the historical documents, that, everything is in order, that he knows. He has a very strong handle on the entire history and everything he needs to know about the company in order to execute on what they're doing now, as far as audits and getting Form 10s filed and everything like that. So he may not be, out there vocally, communication wise. He's kind of more of a reserved guy and likes to do everything, through press release or 8K or whatever. But I can assure everyone he has a very strong handle on what's going on with the public entity side of Cnna, because, he's always asking me documents, various information, double checking historical facts, all that kind of stuff with me. So,
man, no,
on
I
that note,
appreciate that.
I'm going to jump off.
Yep. Thank you, guys, man.
All right.
And I'm not gunning for his job. Let him know that, please. Guys, thank you so much for joining. If I miss questions, man, I'm going to I'll be on the I've got the X, the Twitter thing up on my computer. I can answer some questions on there. I'm always available.